We good? Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. Sorry, Glenn. Should have asked you first if we were set up. So we're going to start with the approval of the minutes. So 2.1 is a motion approving the minutes of January 22nd, 2025, minutes of the regular meeting of the town board. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And it's carried. Okay, so there aren't any bid openings and there aren't any public hearings tonight. I don't really have any updates for Monday. So we'll move right to the privileges of the floor, which is the section in which any member of the public can speak to an agenda item, but agenda items only. And once again, the rules are that each speaker must wait to be recognized, only speak during the designated public comment section, state their name and address before speaking, speak at the podium, speak for no more than 3 minutes, only speak regarding town business, be brief and to the point, address comments to the board only, be respectful of all elected officials, town employees, members of the audience, and all other persons. And in order to ensure an orderly, productive meeting, residents will be heard before non-residents, and speakers will speak in entirety, then will be addressed by the board. Would anybody like to speak on an agenda item? Okay.
Hi, my name is Andy Gao, 749 Main Street in Vestal. I didn't see, I was reading through here quick and I haven't seen the proposals for the I can't pronounce that right, for the payroll company. Where is there other quotes for that? Did that go to bid? How's that working?
I'm done. We're trying to take everybody in segments. So do you have any other questions before I answer?
No, that's the only one. Where is that?
Okay.
I would like to see the competitive quotes on that, please.
Yeah, the competitive quotes were put out. And it was it yesterday? Yeah. So it was sent out with the agenda. So it was sent out as an attachment with the changes in the employee manuals, and there were 2 quotes there. It is a professional service, so it doesn't really require it. But we did do 3 separate, we did investigate 3 separate companies. One company we did not get a bid from. We checked references on all 3 companies and we did callbacks, and the first company, which we don't have the written thing, was they did not want to give us any quote unless they came in person, sat down with us and went over everything. But in talking to our references for them and for the other companies, actually, what I found out is a lot of people had used them and they felt that their customer service was really bad. And my personal experience in trying to call them, even to ask about their services, I was on the phone for 20 minutes and they couldn't even get me an answer in those 20 minutes. So that being down, we did compare 3 different companies. That one we put aside for now because we don't want a company like that. And the other 2 companies, we went down, we looked at the 2 different systems that they had. We looked at the comparative price. We do have the written bids, but quite honestly, we went through the systems and we compared their capabilities. We really want something that's user-friendly for our people, that's affordable, that's going to be able to do way beyond what we can do now, and is going to be really easy to use. One system is old, let's say older. So it's much more labor intensive. Everything was discussed in money. I'm not sure how much is reflected in the minutes. It was a very long meeting on Monday.
How much? I guess my question is, how much? What's the fee? I don't see the fee. How much does it cost?
So once again, is that your last question?
Well,
I can go
I
down.
might have one more after that.
Okay, no. One set of questions, but you can say till the end and ask more or follow up if you want.
On the same subject.
Okay, so we're not going to go back and forth, but I'm trying to answer the question. So the comparative is in there. So it's hard to compare because they offer different things.
Total cost.
Okay, I'm telling you, they offer different services. So they have the payroll services themselves, and then Payco has different levels of services, and they are in their estimate, they articulated everything. So if you want a timekeeping system with that, that's an additional cost which they listed. There's the basic payroll cost, which they listed. If you want something above, so if you want them to do the IRS accounting, that's more cost. But it's clear on the thing, so they were able to break it down for us. And then Tassion does the same thing. So they broke it down in a similar way, but it depends on what we land up doing. But if you compare both sides to one side by side, you can compare the cost depending on what we decide on.
I get that. You're approving it, but I don't know how much it costs. We're approving something. How much does it cost?
Okay, it's in it. It depends on the breakdown of what we actually decide on the services that we are. They are comparable costs to each other. They are not markedly above or below. We did find that one company was much easier to use, was going to be much easier for our personnel, was going to take more work on a long-term basis for less work on a long-term basis for our personnel. It was more automated and it was going to be more tailored to us. That's what we found. We looked at the systems primarily. The cost is more or less comparative. It's not like one is hugely above the other.
I'm not questioning what you're doing. I just want to know how much does it cost? We're signing an agreement.
Okay.
How much does it cost?
I think what he's referring to, it just says authorization to sign it for the payroll sum.
Okay.
Normally it says the payroll company in the amount of such and such.
Okay, I
Am
can,
right?
is
Yeah,
that
I
what,
just want to know
okay,
how much it costs. That's it. I'm not questioning that you need it or don't need it. I'm just
Right,
wondering
that's-
what,
Okay.
how much
What
are
are
we
we
going
gonna
to
pay
pay them for
Tassion
this service?
hold on.
to sign that?
Do you have it in front of you? Can you pull it up? Oh, wait a minute, I think I got it. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, I can read it off to you. So it is,
It's just a.
Mhm. it's different cross. So it is down to, hold on, I gotta now calculate. It's 1,500. It's about 1,500 less. Okay, so it's approximately for Tessian. It calculate, I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me use your phone. I'm sorry. I'll get right back to it. So we calculated based on the number of personnel, so it would be approximately $2,907 a month. And then once a year for all of the W-2 preparations, IRS reporting, all of that combined, once a year fee of about, that's not the actual, because they waived one of the fees, so it's about $1,500 more or less. And a startup fee of about 1,000. That's approximate, okay? Thank you. I wasn't trying to give you a hard time, I promise.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I just was curious about that.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to give you a hard time, I really.
Thank
Mhm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, in the workshop, we went all over the detailed reports of either one. Everybody had it in hand. But okay, thank you. Does anybody else from the public have a question or a comment on agenda items only? Okay, thank you. So then we'll move to the resolution and motions. Okay.
Just one question on the demos for the payroll companies. Did you demo all three of the companies or just two of them? I don't remember. And did you demo Payco? Because I know I use Payco, and you said that it wasn't a very user-friendly system. I know we use that and it works really great. It's all computerized. Did you demo them?
Okay, thank you. We talked to different references for each company. I talked to the initial representative and got their whole sales pitch in the beginning. And then we got the price points for each one. And then we talked about the user experience with each reference. And then we looked at the website on their website for their company, and we looked at the logistics of what that could tell us about the everyday experience as well. So we relied a lot on the references, but quite honestly, I heard the sales pitch of every company, and I really want to know what the user experience is, what the capabilities of their systems are, and that's what we compared, and that was our primary concern. And the price point was clear with everyone that we compared, so there was no issue beyond that. So, okay, there's no follow-up. Thank you. So anybody else have a question on the agenda? Okay, with that, we'll move on to agenda items. Sir?
You keep saying we, the whole board, or you and one person, or the entirety of the board, listen to the whole conversation.
Okay, can you please just comply with the rules? Can you just go up and thank you, sir.
My question being, if you keep saying we,
Okay,
and I think it's a good idea, by the way, but who is we? Is it you? Is it you and Sue? Is it you and those two, or this guy and that one? Who's we?
okay, name and name and address, please. I mean, as the rules.
John Schaefer, 204 Elizabeth Street, Vestal. Still playing, huh? But that's all I want to know. Who was we?
Thank you. We had 4 different people involved in the conversation,
Mhm.
but the board was engaged in their ideas and everything as well.
So the board didn't sit in it on the presentation? That's just a question, that's all.
Okay,
Nothing
Okay.
in it?
is that your final question, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you. So the board considered everything that was put forward to them. So with that, we'll move on. So, resolutions and motions, we don't have any this evening, and Public Works. Sue?
Request from Scott Groats, Water and Wastewater Superintendent, for town board approval to advertise on February 19, 2025, requesting bids for uniforms. Bids to be opened on Wednesday, March 5, 2025 at 2 p.m.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried. And finance.
Okay,
And Sue?
9.1, authorization for the town board to approve payment in the amount of 1,268.50 to Coughlin and Gerhart LLP for outside counsel fees for professional services rendered through December 31, 2024.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's carried.
9.2, request from Daniel Williams, IT Director, for authorization of a budget transfer of $6,100 to replace faulty network equipment located on the Andrews Tower site and Town Hall Tower site. The budget transfer money will cover the cost to decommission the current faulty equipment and installation configuration of new equipment.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion in a second, and then we're going to go for a little discussion, okay?
Okay.
So can I have a motion?
I'll move the,
Thank
I'll
you.
make the
And-
motion.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. And now for discussion. So we had touched base with it on the work session on Monday, and I said I would talk to Dan Williams about the line item that we were going to take it from, because the project is good. We all agreed. So we looked through the rest of the budget, and what we're expecting, and what will happen is that there's going to be a cost saving in software, but we're not going to take that money out of the line item right now. And right now, the flexibility is in the salary level. But he understands, so when we do the cost saving with the transition with the software programs, it's going to be less money. The money's going to be there. So for now, we can take it out temporarily because the money is available in the salary level because of the free position. And because there may even be a cost savings if we do go with that security company. I mean, the IT company rather than a person. So there's flexibility there. So temporarily, if everybody is good with it, then, you know, I'm comfortable with taking it out of the salary schedule for now, with the understanding that that would be replaced if there isn't a cost saving with the IT service. You okay with that?
Sounds fair.
Okay.
And from what I understood from the information I got on the
Mhm.
project he wants to do, the equipment is in need of
Mhm.
replacement, upgrade. So this
Yeah.
really is something that we need to get done.
Yeah, we all discussed it and agreed, and he gave us great details on it. So the project really wasn't an issue, is really where we're gonna pull the money from.
Right.
So, with that agreement, I'm comfortable with it if everybody else is, because we know that we're gonna have a cost saving in one of those two areas, and if not, we have the $25,000 set aside in the general budget in case, so we can put to specific departments if needed.
Okay,
So-
very good.
Okay, so, so all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and it's carried.
Okay, 9.3, authorization for the town supervisor to sign a contract with EFPR Group for auditing services after review and approval of the town attorney.
Okay, thanks. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, and seconded.
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
Thank you. Okay, and it's carried. And next,
4, authorization for the town supervisor to sign an agreement with Tessian. Apologize, for payroll services after review by the town attorney.
okay, thanks. So do we have a motion?
I want to make a motion to table this conversation for further discussion. I feel like we just got an email about an hour ago that I'd like to kind of review and go through with in more detail. So I think if the rest of the board agrees, I'd like to table the discussion for further discussion amongst the board.
So how urgent is this?
Need a second.
Right. There has to
Oh,
be a
okay.
second.
So second for them,
There has to be a second for
I say
the.
second.
Yeah.
As far as.
Okay.
This is not on. As far as procedure. As far as procedure, a motion was made and Steve's looking for somebody to second.
so we have to second, then we have to table, correct?
No, then you have to.
I mean, that,
Then
if,
you have to
if you,
second.
if, and then he
He's
can
looking
motion.
For a
to-
second.
Okay.
Okay.
He made a motion to
Mhm.
table. Does anybody want a second? There isn't anybody
Okay.
responding, I don't believe.
Okay. Is anybody responding to a second for Steve's motion? Okay, so then we'll move on to the vote. So,
We have to move to accept.
He was motioning to table,
okay,
which
Yes.
didn't happen. It's not the motion.
That motion did not carry. so I
Right,
have
so
to-
now.
Okay.
we need a motion again.
okay, so we'll motion for the resolution itself. Thank you. So this motion is for the resolution itself. So do we have a motion for the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
And seconded?
I'll say,
Thank you. And all in favor of the resolution?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed?
Opposed.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9.5, authorization for Daniel D. Reynolds, town attorney, to sign a stipulation of settlement for 2019 to 2020, 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2022, 2022 to 2023, 2023 to 2024, 2024 to 2025, pertaining to the following Article 7 tax certiorari carries 500 Skyline Drive, tax map number 157.20-1-27. The business office is authorized to process any refund.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried.
And I didn't read it because it's all right there. Okay.
It's on the record.
It's on the record.
Thank you, sir.
9.6, authorization for Daniel D. Reynolds, town attorney, to sign a stipulation of settlement for 2021 to 2022, 2022 to 2023, 2023 to 2024, 2024 to 2025, pertaining to the following Article 7 tax certiorari case, 423 Commerce Drive, tax map number 158.08-1-2. The business office is authorized to process any refunds. The information is listed in the table below.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's carried.
9.7, authorization to revise resolution R 2024-294, authorization for Daniel D. Reynolds, Town Attorney, to sign a stipulation of settlement for 2019 to 2020, 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2022, 2022 to 2023, 2023 to 2024, 2024 to 2025, pertaining to the following Article 7 tax certiorari case, 604 Vestal Parkway West, tax map number 173.21-1. The business office is authorized to process any refunds. The amount of the refund was listed incorrectly. The correct total is $2,799.65.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Just to clarify, that was 173.21-1-3, right?
Yes. Yes,
I believe we left off the 3. That's all.
it is in the document.
Yeah.
And the information is all listed in the table below.
Okay.
Thank you. So do we have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's carried. Okay, next one.
9.8, request to pay $400 for the Upstate New York Annual Association of Towns membership dues for 2025.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? And it's carried. Sue, I'm sorry.
Personnel, request from Scott Groats, Water and Wastewater Superintendent, for town board approval to rehire Michael Allen as equipment mechanic at the rate of $30.85 per hour, as well as his original benefit package. Start date will be retroactive to February 10, 2025.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried.
10.2, authorization for Scott Groats, Water and Wastewater Superintendent, to approve up to 5 days of vacation carryover from 2024 for all blue-collar CSEA employees.
Thank you. So do we have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it's carried. Sorry. Any opposed? And it's carried. And next one.
10.3, authorization for Donnie Yonker, Highway Park Superintendent, to approve up to 5 days of vacation carryover from 2024 for all blue-collar CSEA employees.
Thank you. So do we have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And it's carried.
Okay, 10.4, authorization to change the employee handbook as follows.
You're not going to read that.
I am not going to read about it. This is an entire page in the agenda. It's on page 4 and page 5. And I don't know, Maria, did you want to discuss it?
Well, we went over everything. Why don't we make a motion, second it, then we'll discuss for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So do you have a motion?
So moved?
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. And so we're in the discussion. So just a couple of notations. So since Monday, and actually today, so in the meeting on Monday, we discussed the grandfathering in under section 812. So that's on the second page of it. And that was pertaining to one employee, correct? So that employee will receive compensation for the difference in time in his bank between 1,000 and his level that he has right now. The arrangements have been made, so he's going down to 1,000. So the grandfathering clause is no longer needed. So the section that says, and the whole paragraph starts, an eligible employee hired before January 1st, 2019. So when you jump down to those employees that qualify for the payment of sick time on February 12th, 2025, and have accumulated more than 1,000 hours of accrued sick time will be eligible to receive payment for the amount of sick time that is accrued up to that date upon retirement. Any additional sick time that is accumulated in excess of that amount will be compensated consistent with the section 41J of the New York State Retirement and Security Law. So that was just the one section that grandfathered one person in. That is no longer needed. So what I'm proposing is amending it right now just to make the last sentence, any additional sick time that has accumulated will be credited towards their pension consistent with section 41J of the New York State Retirement and Social Security Law and all the other provisions that are already in there. So is everybody clear on that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's substantially the same, just without that one provision for that one person. And if you move down just a little bit, so I consulted with Dan. We are removing that section there, and it contains a resolution. Upon consultation with Dan, he said we can vote. This will be fine for now. And then we're going to review that original resolution and make sure that it stands on its own. And if we need to modify that, we can do that afterwards. Okay?
Good.
So we don't have to rescind anything on the spot. And there was one last change. Marcia Frost actually was wonderful this morning. So on the first page, it's really just the introduction, the description of Vestal, the area of Vestal. When you jump down to, you see where all the way towards the bottom where it says department head absences?
Yep.
Okay, just a little bit above that, not that sentence above, but the last sentence in the paragraph above, and I'll read it. It says, our town office personnel ensure that everyone, employees and residents alike are well taken of. Well,
Oh.
so we're amending it to well taken care of. So we're just adding the word care. Okay, that's just grammatical. Okay, so
So I can make a motion for those two amendments.
yes, the two amendments for the two changes that we just mentioned. So
But we
thank
need a
you, and
second.
seconded for the motion with the amendments.
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 And any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. And so it's carried. Okay, very good. Okay, so we move on to 10.5, right? Thank you.
Vote on,
We need to vote on we
Yeah.
need to,
Vote
now we need to
changes.
vote on the amended.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's vote on the amended version. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. So we have a motion to vote on the amended version of the employee changes in the handbook. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, and seconded.
Seconded.
Thank you, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed?
Opposed.
Thank you. Okay. 10.5.
10.5.
Mhm.
Due to the inclement weather in December, many members of the Highway and Parks Department were unable to complete their planned vacations in December. Permission is being requested from the board to carry over all vacation hours.
Okay. And so do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, and seconded.
Seconded.
Thank you, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's carried. Okay, and Robert?
11.1, resolve to accept the bid made on January 19th, 2023 by Robert Granis to purchase town-owned property located at 2401 Vestal Road BCTM number 158.09-1-9-1 for a bid price of $15,000. This is subject to permissive referendum.
Thank you. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? And it's carried.
11.2, authorization to advertise on February 19th, 2025 for a public hearing on Wednesday, February 26th. The public hearing is for a proposed local law regarding the revisions to Town Code, Chapter 4, Animals.
Thank you. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, and Sue?
Public safety, request from Stace Kittner, Police Chief, for the town board to accept payment from PERMA to help offset the cost of the policy and procedure maintenance bill. PERMA plans to reimburse the police department $3,895.71 for fiscal year 2025 as part of this grant.
Thank you. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried.
12.2, request from Stace Kittner, Police Chief, for the town board to accept the funds from the Burn Jag grant and reimburse the police department grant line $11,996.54.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried. And Robert?
13.1, authorization for the town supervisor to sign a security agreement for a free IT assessment with Pyramid Business Systems Incorporated. Agreement to sign after RFP has been submitted if Pyramid wishes to submit.
Okay. Thank you. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And it's carried.
13.2, authorization to advertise on February 19th, 2025, a request for proposals for IT services.
Thank you. And so do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's carried. Okay. Stephen Pyle, do you want to
Receive and
do that?
file. Warrants
You
2025,
can.
4A, 4G, 4P, 4M, 4T, 5A, 5C, 5G, 5M, 5P, 5T, 6A, 6G, 6M, 6T. These are bills that have already been paid for the town.
Thank you.
And I detailed them at length in the work session minutes on Monday. Town clerk monthly report, January 2025. Change of tenant, 1500 Vestal Parkway East.
Thank you. Thank you. We don't have any petitions and protests. We don't have any old business. We do have new business. So 16.1 is a request from Vernon Myers, town engineer, for the town board to review and act on the seeker for the Owego Road Bridge over Tracy Creek replacement project. Okay, so does everybody have a seeker?
Yes.
Okay, so before I start reading it, has everybody read it?
Yes.
And is there any discussion on the seeker itself before we continue?
No.
Okay. So with that, the board has in front of them part 2 of the seeker form, and it has been reviewed. In regards to the seeker for the Owego Road Bridge over Tracy Creek replacement project, based upon a thorough review and examination of the known facts relating to the action and its careful review of all potentially adverse environmental impacts and the entire record and proceedings relating to the action as of the date of the adoption of this resolution, including but not limited to information included on the project's short environmental assessment form, parts 1, 2, and 3, information provided by the applicant, involved and interested agency input, and public input. The board finds that the action will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment and that a draft environmental impact statement will not be prepared. I need a motion approving a negative declaration as to the seeker, as there are no large or significant environmental concerns identified with regard to this permit application.
So moved.
Thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? And it's carried. Okay, just a few announcements. So number one, the winter parking rules began on December 1st and will last through March 31st. Parking of vehicles is prohibited on all town and country roads in Vestal between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. Vendor registration is open for the 2025 Vestal Festival, which will be held on Saturday, June 7th. And for more information, please go to vestalrecreation.com. Next, Vestal Youth Police Academy will be held Vestal Youth Police Academy will be held Monday through Friday, July 7th to July 11th for middle school students and July 14th to the 25th for high school students. For an application, please contact SRO. I'm going to mispronounce it.
Tukin, Michelle Tukin.
Tukin, thank you. At mtukin@vestalny.gov or call 607-221-5493. All school districts are welcome. And we want to wish Nick Angeline, our comptroller, the best of luck in his new position. And we want to thank him for all of his years of service for the town of Vestal. And lastly, I want to thank all of our personnel that did all these wonderful things that we mentioned today, including finding funds for SACE and finding funds for it and spearheading the Vestal Youth Academy in the summer, which is a tremendous amount of work, but is a wonderful, wonderful academy. And all of our other personnel as well, but I try to take turns. So we do appreciate everybody. And we just want to remind all the residents how hard all of our personnel work all the time to make sure that everything that they need from the town is taken care of, whether it be snow removal, where our personnel are up at all hours of the night and will go for days on end at times, and work above and beyond in order to make sure that our residents are taken care of. So I want to thank all of our personnel as well, especially our highway guys and our water and sewer people who step up in the plowing as well. But with that, and parks, thank you. With that, does any committee chair have any comment or anything to add?
Public safety, 2 items. The fire department, Hugh Reynolds, who was a past station chief, past president, passed away this week. He served in Vestal Fire from 1999 until 2015. Contributed an immense amount of work, and he will be greatly missed. His services will be this Friday, and there will be full honor guard. Also, we would like to congratulate Michael LaPiccolo on being Police Department Officer of the Quarter.
Thank you. And thank you to him as well. And our condolences for Mr. Reynolds. Any other member? Any other chair? Okay, with that, we'll move on to last section, which is the public comments. And just a reminder, each speaker must wait to be recognized, only speak during the designated public comment section, must state their name and address before speaking, must speak at the podium, speak for no more than 3 minutes, only speak regarding town business, be brief and to the point, address comments to the board only, and be respectful of all elected officials, town employees, members of the audience, and all other persons. In order to ensure an orderly, productive meeting, residents will be heard before non-residents, and speakers will speak in entirety, then will be addressed by the board. Does anybody wish to speak?
Alicia Davis, 301 Gardner Road. On Monday, I asked some questions. I saw the minutes. I don't think I made myself clear, so I want to reiterate those questions. I would like to know.
Can
would
we
like-
talk into the microphone?
Sure. That better?
Sorry, we
You're
just
good.
couldn't hear you.
No, you're good. I would like to know if there is a process in place in the town of Vestal where bills that are paid are checked and balanced, that they are approved bills to pay. That is the correct way to word that.
Yeah.
I would like to know if there is a process, who is responsible for that process, who enforces that process, and if that policy is written. Those are my questions. But I also have some comments based on some things that I saw happen here tonight, and I think most people on this side saw happen. I want to remind the board members, all of you, that the people of Vestal are depending on you. This is our money. This is our lives. These are our children. This is our livelihood. These are our futures, and we're depending on you. And each one of you were elected because we believed in you. And so voting together or purposely working against each other is not productive and it's not helpful. And 100%, it's not transparent. It feels awful. And once upon a time, that was all blamed on one particular board member. And that's not the case. What I saw tonight happen, and I'm going to ask a question about that in my last minute and 30 seconds here. What I saw happen was this board fell apart and you let the town of Vestal down. As I understand it, just from observations here in this room tonight, this payroll concern is a big confusion. And Steve brought up that there was an email sent an hour ago. And I'm going to ask you, Steve, if that email was important enough for you to call to table that you read that out loud. I think the rest of the town of Vestal should know what is so concerning. I wasn't going to give it much credit. No offense. I wasn't going to give it much credit. But then Rob abstained. And that tells me that there's something here. I will say this. I will say I heard you, Maria, say on Monday and again tonight that you demoed that Payco software. And I know for a fact you did not. I know for a fact that that is untrue. So when you were asked specifically tonight, did you demo that software? You backed it down. I would too. But why did you say you demoed it if you didn't? You go back to that video. Go back to Monday's video. Go back to tonight's video. You said you demoed 2 softwares. You did not. That's not true. So if we know for a fact that you didn't demo that software and you're saying that there's an email that came an hour ago that you think warrants tabling it and you're abstaining from the vote, there's something that the town deserves to know. And I'm asking you, Steve, to stand up for the people of Vestal tonight, or you, Rob, to stand up for the people of Vestal tonight. With no offense, I don't know that the two of you will do it because you didn't back Steve up. So I'm asking one of the two of you to stand up and read this email so the town of Vestal knows what's going on. That money for that payroll service, that's our money. That is our money. And I'm asking one of the two of you to do that.
Well, thank you. In answer, will follow up on the payroll question from Monday. And that was, so we investigated with the payroll, because we want to make sure that everything was done correctly in the first place. So we're going to go back over whether we need to redo the resolution because there was a question about the minutes themselves. However, what I did was I did an investigation. So I want to make sure that everything that was paid for was authorized and everything that and it was paid correctly. So I went back and I pulled all the emails. So every board member was asked and had input in and decided which grants we were going to put in for. They had knowledge of the amounts. Every single one of the board members acknowledged, and we literally did a consensus, and then we put it to a board vote. We'll double check what the resolution says or doesn't say in the minutes because we want to be procedurally correct as well. But we went above and beyond and we polled every board member. We have the emails to show every board member knew what was being voted on and that they were authorizing the money to be paid. And as we know, we did lose one of the big grants. We did not obtain that, but the other one for $250,000 we did. So, the board, I believes that it's worth investing in that effort to get the money for the town because otherwise any equipment, and that's all going for the equipment of highway, otherwise every resident is going to have to pay that cost. So we're looking at ways to save people money, and we're not going to make any apologies for trying to look and be proactive in trying to obtain money that is out there so that our residents can pay as little taxes as possible. We want to make it affordable. We want to maintain services, and we want to take care of our residents. And I will speak to the second part just very quickly, is that it is very upsetting that some residents, that there might be others agendas out there, because I can tell you and I can attest to every single person that was working on this project to try to find the best payroll company for this town went above and beyond researching each of those companies to ensure that we get good software at an affordable cost that's good for our employees, to make things more efficient so that our employees can pay attention to the things that they need to pay attention to and can have this burden removed from them. The workload of our employees, the stress of our employees, the health of our employees is the most important things for us. And if we can do that affordably, and in this case, we're actually going to save the residents a lot of money in the process, we are going to do that. It is absolutely not disparaging anybody who came before us. It just, if there are things out there that we can do to improve things for our employees and help the residents and try to make our services as affordable as possible, we will continue to do that. So with that, does any board member?
I'd like to. From what's been said tonight and Monday, I get the impression that the public feels that the board members aren't fully informed when we approve some of these resolutions. And I would just like to let them know that as a board member myself, I make sure that I get a copy of all paperwork, any quotes, any proposals, any engineering paperwork, and I look through it. The engineering paperwork gets a little long sometimes, so maybe not through all that, but I did see the proposals for the payroll companies. I did see all the paperwork that has come through. And so I'm not going into this blind. I'm not approving anything that I don't know that I'm approving. Supervisor Sexton herself will let you know that I sometimes go into her office and we will have discussions, and I sometimes get animated, and I sometimes, disagree with her, and I stand my ground most of the time on the disagreements. Sometimes she explains to me and I understand, I feel better about it. But there's times that even her explanation doesn't do it for me and I stand my ground. So the public needs to know that the board members, at least for myself, speaking for myself, I make sure I see all the paperwork. I make sure I know what I'm voting on. I make sure if there's any questions, they get answered before I give a vote. If there's any doubt in my mind at all, and I have in the past asked to table resolutions myself. So I just want the public to know that this is not going in blind, at least not on my part. And I'm pretty sure the rest of the board members also get all this paperwork as well. Thank you.
In relation to that, Glenn, I seconded your motion at that time too. So my issue is more of just having the numbers on the piece of paper. That was all for me. So.
Okay, with that, any other further comments from the public?
Can I just address this issue?
Oh, sorry, Sue first.
In
Yeah.
terms of, I'm sorry, Bill. Are you okay if okay. So to contribute to this conversation about the payroll companies, it's important that the board understand about the payroll companies, but it's extremely important that the people that are working with the payroll, who have to do the input, who have to prepare all the documents, are comfortable with the companies and have input into all the decisions that are made. And they were a part of researching this before the information came to the board. So it wasn't just the board that looked at this, but it was also the employees that are going to be working with these systems. And one in particular has worked with the other systems and is familiar with them, so had expertise to make a decision about this. But, when the information goes out, It is imperative that the board members read them in advance. If you wait until the last minute to read something, then you are not going to be prepared. I'm sorry, Bill, go ahead. No,
No, I'm sorry, you're out of order, but if you want to,
but Felicia, if you don't talk into the microphone, it doesn't make it to the. Oh, okay. Okay.
Bill Stewart, Gardner Road. I would say I'm frustrated with the vote for the payroll company tonight. I don't feel like any of you demoed this system. Any of you looked at it. I don't even believe you saw the exact numbers from all three companies. I think you got some misinformation. And it's a lot of money for our town, and you voted blindly. And if I asked you questions about the payroll company, you don't know anything. You got some pieces of paper. You didn't pick the phone call. You didn't go talk to these people. You didn't see their systems, but you're going to spend our money. Unacceptable. This is a $32 million business. You're not running it like $32 million business. You get emails and you approve stuff. That's not how you run a business.
well, just to follow up, we spent weeks on this, our personnel. Well, actually you are. Thank you. I get to follow up after you do. So we followed up, as Sue had referred to, our personnel went over this for weeks, comparing different companies, following up, trying to find the best company with no set agenda, trying to find the best software, the best company, the best everything for our personnel, and to do it at a cost that we can afford. So that's it. Any other public comment? Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, and seconded.
Seconded.
Thank you. And all in favor? Sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Can you put that in there?
Mr. Attorney, nice job on the.
What?
And thank you for not making me read.
You did that. And they're happy. That's great. You give nothing like.